Hey, Father Michael here. The end of a long, laborious, pun intended, day, all by myself, having a day off, working like crazy. It's Labor Day, and for once it's not beastly hot and humid. In fact, it's been really cool today. Cool and cloudy. Didn't get any rain like we were supposed to. So I spent the whole day indoors, essentially, cooking, cleaning, smoking hookah. Labor Day used to be the saddest holiday in the entire year, because back in the day, before the right-wing lunatics ruined public education, the first day of school was properly, according to God's plan, the day after Labor Day. So no matter what my family did on Labor Day, and we always did something big. It was always a big gathering somewhere, usually out of town, picnic and all that business. Nonetheless, the entire day was like being in a cemetery, just waiting for the casket to be lowered into the hole in the ground. Ugh. Labor Day, I would wake up Labor Day morning with this weight on my chest, like there was a fat boy sitting there eating a box of donuts or something. It was horrific. Well, that was back in the day. People have been back in school. Kids are back in school now for weeks already. So this year, I have been thinking about Labor Day. I've been in my head all day. I didn't even have any music on as I'm doing all my lunatic activities today, thinking about all of the different ways that I have engaged in labor, starting at age 14. How hard, really, I've worked my entire life, multiple jobs, 90% of the years of my life. I'm not going to run down the list of jobs and all that, because I think I've done that. I've gone through the careers and all that with you before. But I'm just thankful today that I have always been able to support myself. I've always been able to find work. I've always been appreciated for doing good work, hard work. For a time, I even worked as a union custodian, so I am so very grateful for labor unions in general, and for that job in particular that allowed me to support my young family as I was finishing my undergraduate degrees. I wouldn't have been able to do it without that kind of solid wage package and decent insurance. The company that I worked for even paid for half of my undergrad costs, including textbooks, knowing that I wasn't going to stick around once I had those degrees. But this again was back in the day when companies actually gave a damn about their people. And so here I am today on this Labor Day, celebrating 15 years of hard work as a Catholic priest. Still struggling after 15 years to reach out to those people I know need and want a safe spiritual home with some historical link to that original community that surrounded Jesus when he was alive. I'm trying to work that through Holy Redeemer Catholic Community. Okay, I retired from teaching, but I'm still working as a recovery specialist. I work with recovering drug addicts and alcoholics most days of the week. It is some of the most challenging, the most heartbreaking, and the most satisfying work of my life, to be honest. This is not easy work because drugs and alcohol are everywhere. Alcohol is literally on every street corner. You can't avoid alcohol. You can't gas up your car without having beer, 10 paces away. A year and a half ago, I lost 5 people in 4 weeks. Only one of them was over the age of 30. And by the time the 5th person was found dead, overdosed on fentanyl, I did not have the strength to go to the funeral home. Something that I always do, because I like to reach out to the parents and offer them my support and give them my card with my number and say, you call me anytime. As a dad who's lost 2 of his 3 sons, I think I'm probably the perfect guy to be there as a support for them. Even though there's nothing I can do, nothing but listen and cry with them, because I get it. Paul writes in his letter, the first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 11, encourage one another, build up each other, as indeed you are doing. I think we're all called to do that in whatever ways we can, whatever ways God shows us, whatever pathway is open for us, whatever people show up in our lives by divine appointment. So the hard part of doing this work as a recovery specialist is the huge recidivism rate or relapse rate. 90%. 90% of the people who come into treatment the first time will relapse. And only 75% of the total number of people who want to get sober and want to get off drugs will actually be successful. That's heartbreaking to me. That means 25% are going to die in their addictive behaviors. And I don't want to accept that. Add to that issue some very clear generational differences. I realize I'm an old, crusty boomer, but things were different when I was 17. Yes, my home life was hell. No one should have to go through what I went through. But I left home on my own to make a life for myself in a different city, and I was full of hope because I knew that I was tough. I knew I was smart enough to figure this thing out, this thing called life. I knew I was resilient, that I was a survivor. And there was never a question that I would ultimately be successful in whatever I tried to do. Well, that is not what today's 17-year-olds think. They are missing that one key ingredient: hope. And there's nothing that I can do to give them hope. I can do what little I can to inspire it, but it has to come from within themselves. It's a generational difference. It's mystifying, it's heartbreaking, it's frustrating. But it is what it is, and I try to do what I can to mitigate that. One of the things that I do almost every day is to reach out to 1 or 2 people. I have a whole spreadsheet of former clients or people that I was in treatment with myself, or people who have come my way through the Smart Recovery meetings over the years that I've attended. And so today, like always, I reached out to 2 different people. I just say hello, hey, I hope you're still killing it and doing this recovery thing and doing well. And just want you to know that I'm thinking about you and praying for your highest good. Well, so one of them did not respond. That might mean something. I don't know yet. But it is the holiday, so I'm not going to hit the panic button or worry about it too much. But the other one did respond. And that response straight up made me cry. He told me that he is coming up on 1 full year off of heroin. That he loves his new job. He loves his new life. And then he said, I wouldn't even be alive today if it hadn't been for you. So I owe you big time, bro. I, of course, corrected him because I was not the only one working with him on his recovery. I was just one cheerleader among many. But the sentiment really touched me deeply. Not least because it's Labor Day. And I'm thinking about all the work that I've done and that I do, wondering sometimes, I think we all do, does all of this really matter? Does any of it really matter? Well, today, it did. People ask me all the time how it is that I can do this work. And to be honest, I can foresee a time when I might become so overwhelmed by the negatives, by the losses, by the funeral homes, and the tragic stories, and the horrific stories of abuse, and all sorts of things that I hear all the time. I might become so overwhelmed by all of that that I might have to deselect myself and go, go gently into that dark night known as retirement, like real retirement. But it's when I get a response from that small percentage of successful people that I feel blessed and honored and so grateful for all of the shit show of my own life that has led me to this place so that I can actually connect to my better self and help others connect to their better selves. Just as I like to reach out to remind people that although they are out of the program, they are out of my care, they've not been forgotten, and that I remember the connections we once had, so too, every now and then, like today, one of them reaches back out to me, reminding me that I have not been forgotten either. And that in my own way, honest, brutally honest sometimes, faithful, not afraid to cuss like a sailor, I'm still doing God's work, even when the odds seem insurmountable. It is not Father Michael who saves. It is not Michael, the recovery specialist, who gets people clean and keeps them sober. It is God, and only God. So if I can spend whatever time I have left on this planet doing whatever little things I can, then at the final curtain, I'll be able to rest easy from these labors. Pray with me. mighty, loving God. We come into your divine, holy, healing presence, grateful for all of the people you have sent into our lives, those flickering flames of divine love that have penetrated the darkness of our lives. We ask your blessing on all those who work hard to make ends meet, especially those who go unappreciated or underappreciated. And for our part, help us to be mindful always that whatever successes we might accrue in this life, they are only because of your grace, your mercies, and that flame of divine love that burns within our hearts. Amen. And now may the God of peace, the God who blesses every honest labor, be with you and those you love. Отца і Сина, і Святому Духу.